More injuries, man, my goodness. Who angered the basketball gods? So, John Wall is now going to miss potentially 2 months for the Washington Wizards, and John Wall has not been healthy pretty much the entire season. Even when he's been in there, he's clearly been a worse version of himself. So it's kind of been the season from hell for him. It kind of reminds me of that year that Derrick Rose had for the Bulls, where he was just constantly in and out of the lineup, and then I believe in the postseason he had the first significant lower body injury. Hopefully that doesn't happen with John Wall, but it does kind of remind me of that regular season, right? And just a couple of days ago, I did a video talking about these guys and why I think they've been underachieving this season while still recognizing what Wall's had going on, and I also said they could really build on something towards the second half of the season, especially with Kelly Oubre's improvement. And now this gets dropped on them. I mean, immediately you ask, can the Wizards hold on and make the postseason in the Eastern Conference? Well, they're currently 2 games ahead of the 76ers for the 8th spot. They're tied with Milwaukee and Indiana for number 5 and number 7. It's definitely risky. I mean, if you compare the Wizards without John Wall versus the Bucks, the Pacers, and the 76ers, I think it's fair to believe that all those teams are better, because the Wizards' offense has always been, well, not always. Last year they were pretty solid. At times it was really basic offense, but they still managed to be like 7th in offensive rating last year. Right now they're 12th. And I can't picture a world in which a team that loses one of the best playmakers in the NBA, who's also one of the best downhill players, gets better on offense, you know? And given that they're already a mid-tier defensive team, you put those two things together, and what do you get? You get a team that could just be not that good, right? Now, it does say with Wall that he's going to miss about 6 to 8 weeks. Now, if this ends up going a bit smoother and maybe the rehabbing process is faster or on the fast side of this and he misses about a month and a half, then we could see him coming back like mid-March, I guess. And if he came back, let's say he came back on March 14th against the Celtics, right? In that time, the Wizards will have played, I believe, around like 18 to 20 games or so. Can they go 10-10 in that stretch? Well, you ask Bradley Beal to take on more of an offensive load, and I think from a scoring perspective, Beal can definitely do it. I mean, I don't think I need to explain just how good of an offensive player Bradley Beal is. The other thing we could ask is, can he do a bit more in terms of making plays for others? Well, his assists per game are up to around 4. His assist percentage is up to 18%, and his turnover percentage is actually very good at only 10%. So I think there is some reason to believe that you could run some more efficient offense through Bradley Beal if he has the ball in his hands a little more often and it's not as much of him playing off the ball. But at the same time, like, at the very most, he's going to put up, maybe 4 to 6 assists a game. He's not a guy who can carry your offense as a playmaker. He does it as a scorer, of course. And I don't think there's anybody else in this team who can really do that. I mean, who gets inserted into the starting lineup? Is it going to be Tim Frazier? I mean, Frazier is nowhere near as intimidating as John Wall is when it comes to scoring at all. Is there potentially the Wizards could make some sort of a move to get a point guard who can just kind of hold the fort down for a little bit? And then you would hope that that guy, whoever it may be, if they were to do this, could also be a part of the team as well, like moving forward with John Wall, right? Because to me, what the Wiz could really use is a guard who can play with both Bradley Beal, in the sense of they can split some ball handling duties, and then they could also play off of John Wall because they can shoot threes. And there's a couple names out there. Lou Williams, of course, in trade rumors. You would have to re-sign him, so you probably only would want to do that if you could move one of your lengthier contracts, I don't see how the Clippers would want Ian Mahinmi. So you might have to get a little creative, but if you threw a first-round pick at him, I do think the Clippers would definitely entertain the idea of giving you Lou Williams, and I think he fits into what I just described. Can be a ball handler, can play off of John Wall as well. It's an idea for you. I think another one is George Hill of the Kings, and that one would have to be Ian Mahinmi, because that's the only way the money's going to work, or you get a third team involved. I think Hill also can play with Bradley Beal, play off of John Wall, and you could even get kind of creative and go with Bradley Beal at small forward sometimes and have Wall and George Hill in there together. I mean, I guess you could do that with Lou Williams as well. The only thing, the fear with George Hill, besides the fact that he just makes too much money, is given his injuries on top of being a kind of lower usage dude, you fear that he could become too immobile, I guess. So that's a fear. And also, I mean, I don't know if anybody really wants Ian Mahinmi's contract. It's pretty ugly. It's $15 million a year until 2020. That's pretty rough. So yeah, there's those two. There's also Jordan Clarkson, which some people recommended to me on Twitter. I did not think of him immediately. Clarkson, I think, is a little less of a sure thing than Lou Williams is. It's a way less of a sure thing than Lou would be, and I think it's a bit less of a sure thing than George Hill, because Clarkson never really has been a three-point shooter. This season, he's at 31%. But you'd like to believe that if he's on a team that can actually draw more attention from the defense than the Lakers, that he could get some more open threes, and then, maybe he could be a better shooter than that, And of course, as a ball handler, he's solid, and I think his playmaking has actually been pretty okay this season. His assist percentage is up to 23%, and his turnover percentage is only 11%. That's pretty good. So maybe if you had Clarkson playing 28, 29 minutes a game for you, he could be something. And if I'm not mistaken, his salary isn't the worst thing in the world. It's about 11 to 13 million until 2020. I mean, if you had some combination of Jason Smith, Jody Meeks. Yeah, but the problem there is those guys have player options, and the Lakers have this whole thing with cap space, so you might not be able to get Clarkson. You don't really have an expiring that makes the money work unless those two both declined their options, and I don't think either one of them will, because I don't think they're going to make that much money on the open market. So, I don't know about Clarkson. You might have to get, again, kind of creative, get a third team involved. If the Lakers could get an expiring going back to them, and they also get your first-round pick, and then you get Clarkson, possibilities, but I don't know what you would compensate for the third team, so you got to get creative with this stuff sometimes. But those are three names that I think would work. Clarkson, Lou Williams, George Hill do what I think they need. Now, if you want to get kind of sad, there is Elfrid Payton, who I think is very available for the Magic. Only makes about $3 million a season, so I don't think it would take much to really get him. But of course, the dude can't shoot, and there is no unknown of, well, maybe if he gets more open shots. No, the guy can't shoot, so that could be rough. Ricky Rubio is also available. I don't think that would really help you out. I mean, if anything, he's on a shorter contract than Ian Mahinmi is, but he doesn't play off of John Wall or Bradley Beal very well. Rubio, that is, because he can't shoot, of course. Who knows? I think there are some names out there, but I do think it'd be kind of tough to acquire them because both the Clippers and Lakers want cap space, and it would probably take Mahinmi for the Kings, and, well, it's a bad deal. So who knows? Who knows if anything will happen? Who knows if they even care to make a move happen? Maybe they're just we're just going to ride it out, see what happens. Who knows? So that'll do it.